mate.
Good evening, everyone. I'll go. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Newcastle Fans TV fan reaction show. Myself here, Adam, and joined by Karl, the main man.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, well, a bit more positive. Hopefully, the fan reaction show is a bit more positive. So, well, I'm interested to say, I've just said anyone who's in the queue or if people are jumping in, have a look at Jamaal Lascelles' interview after the game. You know, because a couple of questions on that. It's really, really fascinating on how Steve Bruce has got this dressing room and how much of a nice guy he is. 1-1 against Wolves. I think we'll go on. We'll talk about the game for the next hour or so. Just a quick heads up again. I'll keep mentioning. Don't take it personally if we kind of hurry up at the end. We've got a lot of people to get through. You're more than welcome to have your say. But if I do interrupt you and ask you to leave, don't take it personally. Karl, how do you feel the game went on?
Yeah, I was. It's one of them where I'm disappointed that we've got a point because I felt like we deserved the win, but I'm not disappointed. Like I would have taken a point before the game all day long, but the way we played, I didn't. I'll try and be positive, but I didn't expect us to turn up with that much positivity today. So I was pleasantly surprised, and I just feel like we deserve the 3 points. But we'll take a point, mate, and like you said, just crack on with the next. We've got to get those 3 points against the Baggies, haven't we? So yeah.
Typical Newcastle positive performance, but negatives in that Almiron went off for an injury. Sam went off for an injury. Emil Kraft went off for an injury. And again, as I've said, if you've just tuned in, have a look at Jamaal Lascelles' interview after the game. In my eyes, very fascinating. That's a captain of the club who's pretty much criticising the manager and the coaching staff on a live interview for me. But you might have a different opinion. But yeah, is it filling up, Karl, or?
Yeah, so we're full, like Adam said, it's going to be roughly around 5 minutes each, guys, because we are full and people are trying to get in ASAP and keep getting told off for letting things run over. So yeah.
Don't take if I try and wrap it up, I'm leading today. It's my first one leading, so please don't take it personally. We've got scoring the players on after, and we just have to. We want everyone to get on because people message us after saying why couldn't I get on the fan reaction show. That's the only reason. So don't take it personally, please.
Yeah, so we'll bring in a couple of people at a time. Let's change this. We'll bring in first, we've got Reese and Lewis.
All right.
How are we, lads?
Doing, lads?
I'm good. That was actually quite good result for us. Thank God.
Yeah. Reese, what's your thoughts on the game?
I think what we thought is that De Bradco was going to come in and was going to try, turn the whole game around, which he didn't. Everyone has this thought whenever a new player comes in that he's going, well, not a new player, when a player that has been out for so long is going to come in and do something brilliant. But of course, he made a pretty big mistake. So yeah.
Lewis, do you think De Bradco could have done better?
I think he could have. Let's say he played 3 more games before this game, he could have saved that. So obviously, it's his first Premier League game of the season again. He did all right.
Yeah, I mean, I think as Lewis mentioned on before, for me, in my eyes, it's a pretty big mistake. Me and Karl have spoke about it. I wouldn't have dropped Darlow. It's He made a good save after that. But, do you lads think it was a fair result?
Yes.
No.
I think it should have been. Yes, but no, you can go on. I'm going to say something else in a minute.
All right. No, I don't think it's a fair result. I think we did good, but we need to try and work harder. We let our guard down way too quick, and we just let goals in. So we need to really work on that. Yeah.
Go on, miss. You can go now.
You know how when the Joe Linton, when somebody crossed it in for Joe Linton and it went over the bar, that should be a penalty and a red card. The rules are, if it's a clear goal scored and you use your body to make it bigger, it went over, hit his arm clearly.
I don't know. I'd have to see it back. I think we'd be very, very generous to get that, to be honest, mate. But Lewis, who's anyone stand out for you tonight in the black and white?
Probably Amaron and Alan, because they were the main two people who made the difference for us in getting up the field.
Reece, for you?
I think the same. Alan, saint-maximin and Amaron are there. I think they're kind of our two main people that, well, if we lose, we will be in major trouble. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. If we lose them too, it's big. Like, it's going to be a nervous couple of days waiting to see. Do any of you think? I thought it was John Joe Shelby's best game in a long time. Any of you, Lewis? Do you agree?
Yeah, I think he's been better. Was it just a fluke because it's his birthday today?
You never know. Could have had a birthday treat last night off the missus. You never know what gets them up for the game.
Like, but hey ho, this thing about at least it's a point. We haven't lost the game.
So, Lewis, anything else to bring up? Like any individual performances you want to pick out, or Reece, Lewis, any of you? As I said, this is your chance to rant.
Let's push on. Hopefully, we can stay up. That's all what I don't want another year in the championship again. It's boring.
I think when you go into the championship, it's a lot more like it's scary for all the fans because you have millions of questions, like thinking, are you going to stay back up? Are you just going to stay down there? Or like we could, like any moment, we could be like the Mackhams and just stay down and keep on going down, which is probably one of the most scariest things in the world to Newcastle fans since we've got such a big history and such a big fan base.
Yeah, I mean, you two lads look, how should I say, youngish enough. You weren't alive in the 90s, or that's a good kid.
I was 70 was born in 99.
Well, I'll let you off then, but I agree. I think if we go down, we're not coming up anytime soon. So hopefully we're not talking about relegation. If you've got any, it's a big game next week against West Brom. Got anything? Let's say ASM and Almiron are out injured. What does he do?
I'll let you go first.
I don't know. I really don't know. It's just a big thing.
Like,
what?
I think why not give Anderson a chance? The young lad. Why not?
Never played Premier League football. Is that what you want in the last 12 games?
You did technically has because he did play the FA Cup game, didn't he? For the last half an hour in extra time against Arsenal.
I'm just asking. I'm not disagreeing. Just asking.
I think it'd be experience for him.
Predictions for next week, then, lads. Before we use go.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Yep.
Or do you want me to go first?
Any of these lads?
Yeah,
No, any of you. I'm terrible.
Yeah,
I'm terrible with names, lads. So even if I say a name, I don't know who I'm looking at. I won't lie. I'm terrible with names. I'm not controlling the show, so just someone going first.
Right. Okay. Then I'm thinking a 2-1 win tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Next game.
If the first team, if say Amaron and Joel, and Alan are fit, maybe a 3-1 win. If not, it might be a 1-1 draw.
Well, I think we have to win next week for me.
Yeah,
we've opened it.
It's a 6-pointer.
If Fulham win tomorrow, then again it's back down to is it down to a point? What we ahead of them? 4 points now? Or?
4 points,
at the moment. Yes.
Yeah. So if Fulham win tomorrow, the pressure's right back on. So yeah. But yeah, thanks lads. More than welcome again next week.
Remember, we're united as one as fans. We're united as one.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Right, lads, take it easy.
Cheers. Enjoy your evening, lads.
And you take care.
Cheers,
right, we'll get in Proudlock and Harry. Evening, both.
How we doing,
gents?
Not bad.
Proudlock, how you doing?
All good.
So, Proudlock, would Karl Darlow have saved that?
No, I don't think he would have. I think it's a good header. It is by Ruben. It kind of is a good. I think it's a decent header, but it's the way we've conceded it is what frustrates me. I mean, it's the ball watching. I mean, it really frustrates the living hell out of me when we do the same old thing every time. I mean, Hayden, what's he doing? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. Completely ball watching, you're right.
The thing is, it is 2 points dropped. I think first off, I think we should have been at least up. I think 2 of those chances should have been in the back of the net. The one through Miggy when he went off the post. And I think Willock has got to put that in the back of the net as well. He really has.
Were you like me, Proudlock, like kind of comfortable? Yeah, I never thought Wolves were going to score. Me and Karl were on the watch along, having a bit crack.
I didn't think Wolves
and then
that good. I mean,
and then all of a sudden, I could see a Wolves 1-1.
They're missing Jimenez really badly. They've got really pacey wingers, but I thought the final ball a lot of the time, it was poor. There was no one on the end of it. That is the thing. But I mean, if we continue this ball watching every time, we're only going to get what we deserve. That is the thing. We're going to come unstuck out massively. That is the thing. So I feel like it's 2 points dropped. I think we should have won the game. I suppose it's not going to put in the bottom 3 just yet when Palace play tomorrow, but that is worrying that that Fulham could close it at a point if
very well.
you do win. That is the thing. So, but we'll wait and see. I'm just frustrated we've gifted them the equaliser and taking chances and not taking chances we should have.
Is it Harry? Sorry, I missed your name in the introduction.
Harry,
yeah, Harry. Do you feel the same, mate? Get your thoughts in.
Your mic's muted, Harry. 2 seconds, mate.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much same as last week. We played well for 60 minutes, and then where does it all go? If you asked me what the shape was in the second half, I couldn't tell you.
How do you not think we were more consistent over the 90 minutes than last week? Because I do. I thought it was a better 90 minutes than Man U.
It was a better 90 minutes because we bounced back a little bit after the goal, which we didn't last week. But having said that, without Almiron, mainly Saint-Maximin, but without them two, we look lost. I don't know why Fraser was playing in the middle when he was a wide player. We've drawn, so I don't want to be too harsh, but we should have won. It's a missed opportunity in my eyes. It's we were so disorganised, and I seen what you were saying about that Lascelles interview because I watched it too. The fact that the club captain doesn't know what the shape of the team is meant to be is embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, what is that about?
Does it not show you? Do you know how Steve Bruce keeps coming out and sorry to interrupt you? Keeps coming out and telling us he's got the players. Does that interview not? And I purposely mentioned that because I've just seen it, and I want every viewer, anyone there, watch that Lascelles interview. Does that not show you he hasn't got the players?
Well, yes, I agree with you there partly, but it also shows he doesn't have a clue because if he's not telling the players what's going on, who else is meant to know? Like, if the players don't get the communication, how is anyone meant to know what's going on? How are we meant to know what's going on if the players don't know what's going on? Like, I couldn't tell you where if Hayden was at right back or right centre back, if Murphy was meant to be a right wing back, if Richie was a right forward or a right midfielder or a right wing back. I couldn't tell you what the shape was because it just stinks of a lack of organisation, and that's the whole second goal as well. Because who was picking up the men coming into the box? No one. It's a bit embarrassing.
It was a terrible goal to concede. I asked the lads before this, Dubravka, what does he do in the next game? He's dropped Karl because he's made mistakes. Does he drop Dubravka now, or do we go back to what happens? This is what I mean about Steve Bruce's management. Because I wouldn't have dropped Darlow. I know he's made the odd mistake, but I would have kept him until at the end of the season. What do you think? Proudlock, sorry, I'll start with you. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
I think I can understand why he brought the number one back in. No. I think he is now going to probably persist with his number one goalkeeper, Dubravka, now for the rest of the season. Yes, Dubravka can make the odd mistake, but Darlow's mistakes were building up throughout the past few games. I mean, the distribution was looking all over the place. The beating at the near post, I mean, that very concerned me. So I think
he's out player of the season though. Like, he's out player of the season.
It's when you make constant mistakes like that is when it gets worrying. So I think Bruce will now persist with his number one keeper now throughout the rest of the season.
I agree. I do agree with you. Harry, your thoughts?
Yeah, probably copy and paste. I would have put Dubravka in, and now he's done that, he can't change it because that's far too weak if he just does that. But he should have saved it. But I also think that Darlow wouldn't have saved the one that he did save in right at the death from Fabio Silva. So he might have lost us 2 points, but then you could argue he's gained us 1. So it's obviously a tough one. But having looked at the stats this week, I read an article. Darlow has actually underperformed according to stats, and I know the game's not completely wholly based on stats, but Darlow's actually let in more than is expected. So I think, although we see him as making all these saves, he doesn't quite save everything he should.
Yeah, I think it's one of them positions. If you make a mistake, you're always under the spotlight. I just think with 12 games to go, having that consistency, I agree with you both. Dubravka's a better keeper. I do. I just think it's now. He's made a mistake today, Dubravka. What's his mindset going into West Brom? Is he going to be under pressure? Shit, if I make a mistake again. It's not the time of the season to make mistakes. Darlow had made a couple he had, but if you look at him over the entire season, he's been phenomenal. We were shouting from on this show many a time for England. I just think, it's a bit harsh to drop him, and now it's shown his plan hasn't really worked. But yeah, it will. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Hopefully, I agree with Proudlock. I think Dubravka will be in the next 12 games. And Harry, as you said, it's weak management if he doesn't. Anything else, Sad Proudlock? Quickly, just any other thoughts on performances or?
It's just, I'm just annoyed with the way we've conceded tonight. Can we win? Can we get something at West Brom? It's possible. I mean, they've only won today because Brighton scored a free kick, which was disallowed wrongfully, in my opinion, and missed 2 penalties.
Bizarre, wasn't it?
The game, I'm thinking, oh my God, that game was crazy. I'm thinking, oh my God. So it's possible. It's possible, but what we need to make sure we do is take our chances that ones should be taken and just cut out this ball watching completely now. Cut out the basics.
Yeah, no, you're right. Sorry, mate. And Harry, if ASM and Miggy are now out for a couple of weeks, which possibly it looked like ASM looked like a bad groin injury. I don't know about Miggy's, but what happens next week now if our 2 main players are out?
Sorry, just to add, I had seen Steve Bruce said after the game that he said he fears for the worst if Miggy looks that bad. But I honestly, I think we're in a bit of trouble because without them two, I don't see who starts. Obviously, he's going to stick Julian in there for some reason, for whether he has to or whatever it is, he's going to play. We just kind of have to accept that. Fraser probably start, and then it's a toss up between Karl and Gale, isn't it? If he sticks with the same formation. But
I agree. If we've lost them two, it's the entire shape of the team really is based around them two when fit.
Yeah, and not only that, but sorry, just to add a final thing, it's going to lack energy, a lot of energy, because none of them are particularly fast, the replacements, or they don't have that spark that them two do, that pace in the final third.
Predictions for next week, lads, before you score? Outlook.
2-1 Newcastle.
Oh, go on.
Harry? I'm going to go 2-1 as well. It purely depends on the injuries, but yeah, 2-1.
Well, I hope you're on next week, and if we get beat, I blame you too. So, cheers, lads.
Right, take it easy, lads. Appreciate you coming on. We'll see you for the next game. Take care.
Cheers. You too.
Bye bye. Who we got up next? Colby and Mason. You all right, lads?
Evening.
All right. Evening.
He's there.
Yep.
Yep. Move your Wi-Fi router. Like white noise. Kind of is.
We start with.
You hear us, lads?
Hello.
Yeah, we'll start with Mason.
Hear us?
I'll mute Colby.
Yeah.
Listen, you there?
Yeah.
How did you feel about tonight's game?
It's a disappointing result. But I think for the first half, I think we deserved to go in 1-0 at half time. But in the second half, just losing Almiron on half time, I thought we were going to struggle because we lose so much energy when he comes out of the team. But you have to take a point at Wolves. They are a good side. They're dangerous going forward. But I thought we were decent. Better improvements anyway.
Yeah, Mason, he's had a lot of criticism since he started his Newcastle career in Gillingham. How do you think he did tonight?
I think his chance got blocked off the line. I think it was a good block, but I think he should score. He has to bury that away. But I think
he had
lacked
two
pace.
shots on target before that as well, with his left foot. So I thought he was a bit more active and a bit more alive tonight.
Yeah. Sometimes you can see him a bit, almost looks tired. But I think he was a bit better tonight. Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Do you think John Joe Shelby had his best game in a long time?
It was better. He kept the ball well, a few good passes, but I don't think it was. He didn't really bring anything.
You can disagree. I don't care. I'm just asking.
It was a good few passes he played, and he was in the game a lot, but I just don't think he was. He needs to affect it more, in my opinion. Yeah,
I mean, we've spoke at. Pardon me. You've been watching the other people. Obviously, the main topic of conversation is going to be the goalkeeper. He brought Martin Dubravka back in, who is our number one. He's been great since he joined. Karl Dahler's been phenomenal. Did he make the right call tonight and for the rest of the season? Because Dubravka's going to play the rest of the season now, or do you think it's very harsh on Karl Dahler?
I think it's harsh, but Dubravka is I think, in my opinion, he is the best keeper at the club. When you're fighting to stay in the league, you need your best team, your best players. If they're available to play, I think they've got to play. But yeah, I think it was the right decision. Mistakes happen, but I think he'll come back stronger next week anyway.
Karl, go on. I've been hogging all the questions. I'll let you.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's I think obviously he could have done better with it, but he's pulled out a good save for the other opportunity as well towards the end of the game. Sorry, I was just getting caught up by that Bournemouth scrap and from earlier. What do you think the result will be against the Baggies, mate? What do you think we've got to do differently or kick on from today, missing Miggy and potentially Maximin as well?
Yeah, well, if them two are out of the team, you lose that spark, you lose the energy. But I think when we get a chance, we have to take 90% of our chances against West Brom. It's going to be a tough game. They're going to defend well. But when we get a chance, I think we must score. But I do think we'll win. I have belief.
It's typical. Do you not think it's typical? Do you not think it's typical West Brom are going into that game after winning? It's typical Newcastle. West Brom are going in full of confidence against Newcastle because they've just beaten Brighton. And Sam Allardyce as well. Honestly, I'm dreading next week. Dreading it.
Yeah. I also think that if we were dropping to the bottom three, I think we would really struggle to get back out of it.
Yeah.
that's my only worry. If we were to drop in, I think it would be very tough.
Well, if you think now, Callum Wilson's obviously out a few more games. ASM looked like a bad groin injury. We'll have to see what comes. It looked like he couldn't barely walk off the pitch. Miggy very rarely goes down injured, although he's down rolling around a lot. He doesn't go off injured much. So it makes you think that 3 of our main attacking threats gone for the next couple of weeks. In our biggest run of we've got West Brom, Villa, then Brighton. Am I right? The biggest games of the season, possibly missing our best players. It's so frustrating against stinks of the McLaren year, look-wise and performance-wise. But how did you feel Lascelles did today? Again, another player who's had a lot of criticism, scored the goal, passionate interview after. How do you feel about his performance?
I thought he was good. I think actually for Wolves' goal, he should have passed his man on to Kieran Clark and took an extra yard back, and he would have been able to help out the right back with a header. But he did score. He did contribute in the game. But I think it was an improvement. It was an improvement. But his interview, I disagreed with his interview. I must say I disagreed with that. I think for him to not even know what the manager formation or what he said in the interview, I think that's terrible.
You disagree in what respect? In that you don't agree with Lascelles, or you critical of the manager?
No, well, I would agree. I think I disagree that he's being critical of the manager. I don't think it's the manager's fault. In tonight's game, maybe in other games, it is the manager's fault. But tonight's game, I don't think it was. I think he set up quite well. Wolves couldn't handle us in the first half. But in the second half, when Mickey went off and Alm went off, they started to dominate the game. But yeah, I would disagree that you said about the manager.
No, I agree. I don't think it's Steve Bruce's fault tonight. I think Jamaal Lascelles has been critical. That after I didn't really notice because me and Karl were doing the watch along, so we don't really get a lot of chance to watch the game, if you know what I mean. But apparently after the second goal, after Wolves' goal, there must have been a bit of confusion about who was playing where or a sub. It just doesn't. As I said, it doesn't. Someone seems wrong behind it. It wasn't an interview a captain would give where he seems to support the manager. It was completely opposite. But again, thanks for coming on, mate. When we play next Saturday, Sunday, can't remember the next game.
I can't remember. It's off my head when it is.
He should be coming out and believing in his players, his team, his manager. Because we're in a tough position at the minute. But
do you think we'll go down?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think we'll get relegated? Is he gone?
I think there's a bit of a delay.
Are you there? Do you think? Damn Wi-Fi.
I know. Can you hear us? Can you still hear us, Mason?
Yeah, I'm back. There's just a bit of delay there.
That's fine. Adam asked, do you think we'll get relegated, mate?
Yeah.
You do?
I think we have 5 games left with teams in around the bottom half of the table. We need to pick up more than half points out of them games to stay up. But I have belief that we will stay up. I think we are good enough to stay up once we get Callum Wilson back. It will be tough, but I have belief.
Perfect.
So yeah, I do think we'll stay up.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Yeah, we hope you're right, and we'll see you on the West Brom game.
Yeah, that's all right. Thanks.
Take care, mate.
Bye.
Bye. Perfect.
Was his room spinning? I'm fucking dizzy.
Yeah, I think he was spinning around on his chair. To be fair. Right. Next up, we've got Andrew and Andrew. Good evening.
Evening, gents. How you doing? We've got 2 Andrews.
Good evening, guys. My sound's not very good. Yeah.
Andrew, right? Are we both called Andrew?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I know one's Andrew Bell, isn't it? So Andrew Bell. I'll start with. And Andy, again, just how did you feel about tonight? Are you happy with the point, or is it 2 points dropped?
You talking to me?
Andy Bell, go on.
I'm gonna have to leave. I can't share anything.
You're not here?
Can't share a thing. I'll come back on.
All right, mate. All right, no worries.
Same
I
question.
think like,
Yeah, same question for you, mate. Go on.
I think Wolves were quite poor, to be honest, and I think it's a real missed opportunity. Like you can tell they miss Jimenez because they've got crossed. Like our fullbacks just let them cross for fun, but there's no one in the box for them to attack those crosses. We looked good with Almiron and Saint-Maximin in the first half. Like we had threat, they were carrying the ball. We didn't look lethargic. We had lots of energy. Obviously, when Almiron came off, then Saint-Maxim kind of. I mean, Saint-Maxim is really weird because he seems to pick up these injuries every 2 to 3 games now. He's
exactly
like,
the same, man.
he had COVID and stuff, and he's come back, but it's really frustrating because he is literally, to be honest, the tactics sometimes seem like pass the ball to Saint-Maxim and hope for the best. I don't know, like if you think about who would come in for those two, like Fraser did well when he came on, great cross for the goal, but like who is going to play like Jacob Murphy? I mean, Jacob Murphy did okay today, but he's been poor since he's joined us, if we're honest. He's been living off that Wolves goal in the last minute, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. I mean, you mentioned before. You're the same as me, really. Like before the game, you probably would have took a point, but on the outcome of the game, we should have got 3. So, is it a good result? If you look at the league table, we're now 4 above Fulham, and I know we shouldn't be looking below us, but we do because that's what football's about. If Fulham lose tomorrow, which fingers crossed, Palace beat them, is it a good result? Because we have that little game buffer now, like where if we lose, it doesn't really matter because Fulham are still 4 behind us. Terrible attitude to have, I know, but
I've watched the last couple of Fulham games, and I'll be honest, I think they're a better team than us. They've got more organisation tactically. They've got Lookman on really good form. They've added Josh Maja now. They look like they've got a system and a style. We don't have a style still. We have a style when Saint-Maxim is on the pitch, in my opinion, and Almiron's stretching a bit. But we're still very, like, our fullbacks are atrocious, if we're honest. They just allow cross after cross after cross. I cannot believe we spent 50 million on Jamaal Lewis. I know he's young, but I can't see it. Ever since the Brentford game, he had one good game against Everton away, and that's it. Like, he has been atrocious.
Who's better then, Emil Kraft or Jamaal Lewis?
Jamaal Lewis, because Emil Kraft is the worst right back.
I'm glad you said that. Otherwise, I would have cut it off.
Again,
if you said
the club makes no sense. Why? Fine, Yedlin is terrible defensively, but he's better than Kraft. So at least he's quick and can recover his mistakes sometimes. Kraft can't do either. Steve Bruce as well. For me, he's already. There's this issue with his clubs before. Sunderland, Villa, they had these huge injury crises. Like, why does it keep happening to him at every club he goes to? There must be something to do with his backroom staff or something. He doesn't change anything. He's just. I don't trust him. I think he's like just the worst manager. Like, I found it so funny that John Joe Shelby said earlier in the week, he said, "Oh, he's the best manager I've ever worked for." Yeah, John Joe Shelby, he played okay today, but he's had the worst season of his career, in my opinion.
You're right.
He likes Steve Bruce because he never gets dropped. So yeah.
Steve Bruce is the type of manager who just pats everyone on the back after any type of game, saying "well done," Sunday League type stuff. Andy, forgive us if I'm wrong, because I say me and Karl don't really concentrate much on the game during the watch long. Andy Carroll and Dwight Gill didn't get on the pitch. Am I right? Again?
Yeah, they didn't. No.
Yeah. What's going through their heads?
I think for Andy Carroll, he probably is frustrated because I think he contributes more to the game than Joe Linton does. Dwight Gale needs chances and service, so I just think if you with Joe Linton, you didn't even notice him in the first. Like my dad hardly ever watches Newcastle play. He supports someone else. He's watching. He's like, oh, I didn't notice him playing. So it's crazy, like that happened and stuff.
There's no plan B. I said we were drawn 1-1 with Wolves, and we never went to win the game. As soon as Wolves scored, cheers, Flynn. As soon as Wolves scored, there was only one winner of the game. It wasn't Newcastle. But we, I thought we were unlucky to not to win. But the likes, as I mentioned, Andy, the likes of Andy Carroll, the likes of Dwight Gale, are not getting minutes on the pitch, which they're our centre forwards. Joelinton was on the pitch, who's not a centre forward. I don't think it was Joelinton's worst game, to be honest. But we'll not waste another fan reaction show talking about it. But yeah, like West Brom next week, where do we go? ASM's injured. Let's say ASM walked off. I've played football. That looked like a bad groin injury. Hopefully I'm wrong, but it looked like a bad groin injury. Miggy very rarely goes off injured. So let's say both of them are missing. What happens?
So I think what he will do is he'll probably play Fraser on the left, Murphy on the right. He'll push Willock off Joe Linton, and then he'll play Hayden and someone else in midfield. Probably Hayden and Shelvey in midfield. I've never been a fan of Jacob Murphy. He has one good game and then he has four or five terrible games. I just never really trusted him. But I mean, to me, I would start Gale or Carroll, obviously, ahead of Joe Linton. I mean, I personally think Dubravka is one of the most overrated keepers. Like, people I've seen on fan forums, people saying, oh, he's nearly as good as Given and Krul. And I was like, are they watching the same keeper?
Says, don't put that on our Facebook channel because I'll get hammered. Because Brandon loves Dubravka. But I agree with you in a way. I think if you've been listening, very harsh on Karl Darlow to be dropped. Big decision again, like because Dubravka's made a mistake. What does he do? Does he keep? Karl, I said it before. He made the mistake of Karl, didn't I? I said, what does he do if Dubravka drops the bollock tonight? And he did. So I mean, Karl, like, what would you do next week if you were Bruce?
Fucking hell, we can't win, can we? That's the thing.
It's typical Newcastle. It is. It's typical Newcastle.
Dubravka is more assertive, so he tells the players a bit more like what to do. But for me, Darlow's form was really good, but he has made mistakes in recent weeks. Ever since that Villa game where he kind of did a weird, and obviously Rashford beating him at his near post is But I think Dubravka is really overrated. I probably stick with Dubravka, but I do think he's one of our very overrated goalkeeper, to be honest.
I think we need to win 4 more games to stay up, and if there's one position you can't mess around with, it's your number one keeper. And he's decided to do that at the worst time. And I'm not saying Dubravka, Darlow should have been dropped because I'm not saying Dubravka should have come back in. He is a better keeper, but you don't mess with your number one keeper with 12 games to go. Simple as. And Karl Darlow's been our player of the season next to Wilson. But yeah, anything else to add, Andrew? Sorry, before we move on, mate.
Yeah, I think we all have to hope Manquillo's back as well, because Kraft is just a big problem there. I mean, it's terrible that we're begging for Manquillo to be fit when really he's not even that good.
No, you're right. But no, West Brom next week, mate. Hope to see you back on the show. Yeah, I know you're on most weeks, so John.
Cheers, man. Thank you very much.
Take care, Andrew.
Cheers,
who we got in next? We've got Ed and Joe.
Hello,
gentlemen.
Gents, how we doing?
Not bad, lads. How you all doing?
Yeah, all right, mate.
Good, mate. Good.
Can you hear us,
Ed?
Ed?
Get up here. Are you there?
Yeah, sorry, my signal's a bit rubbish. But
that's all right, mate. It's good now. It's good.
Ed, go on. How do you feel after that result?
Yeah. It feels like, it is 2 points dropped. I mean, I know, there's plenty of people hammering Dubravka tonight, but realistically, he's not, match sharp yet. I mean, somebody before was saying like Bruce, wherever he's been, has this track record of having massive injury crises, and like, well, who the hell is he employing? What, the same bloke who says that Steve Bruce is like a perfect physical specimen or something? But it's 2 points dropping out. The first half was good, but then in typical Newcastle fashion, our two best players get injured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go on. See that?
Yeah, just frustrating, isn't it? I think after Everton and Southampton on the up, and then last few games just awful, and then we played well again tonight, but like problem feel like we need all in well. We need 3 points, don't we? And it feels a lot like the last two relegations. We're just getting closer to Fulham, aren't we? And I can just see Fulham winning tomorrow. Like, the way they're playing, and I don't know. It's all right, Steve Bruce coming out and saying, "Oh, well, we played well," but we need more than that, don't we? At the minute, we need the 3 points, but hopefully we'll beat West Brom next week. But I don't know. I just don't know who will start with the injuries as well. It's like, you can't start. Surely we're not going to start Joe Linton against the biggest game of the season. Put him up front. He doesn't have glue, does he? Bless him.
Well, I mean,
I don't know. It just doesn't seem to play Karl or Gale anymore. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess the way to beat an Allardyce team, it's going to play shithouse football. So why not go 4-4-2, start Andy Carroll and do some shithousery of our own?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's probably what Bruce is thinking anyway, but we're shithousery without the housery.
Yeah.
I mean, would you have both took one
maybe
before
just
the game?
play them both up, see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you have both?
Yeah.
Would you have both took 1-1 before the next game?
Last two games, yeah.
Well, with the 1-1, I mean, it was a game like Wolves are not the Wolves they were last season or the season before. And I mean, Christ, we took a point at Molineux. So I was thinking maybe we can scrape a 1-0 or something. But then obviously injuries hit. The team definitely panicked once Almiron and Saint-Maximin went off. So Almiron, he doesn't start running. He runs box to box. And Saint-Maximin is probably like our best flair player. And the fact is, it's a shame with Saint-Maximin that we're having to see him like run from his own box towards their goal. But I think we definitely panicked after they went off, and then Wolves started to dominate as we were making less and less chances. But I mean, the first half was encouraging. Like, if we'd had Wilson on the field today, he could have grabbed a couple of goals. But as good as ASM and Almiron are, they're not clinical in front of goal.
Do you not think that is, if they're out for a few weeks, I think ASM's out for a good few weeks, is that the nail in the coffin for the season? Like, where does any of our creativity come from with ASM and...
we're just going to have to hoof it forward and hope for the best, I suppose, and hope Andy Carroll doesn't get injured.
You sound like Steve Bruce again. You do.
Well,
I was going to say
physical specimen. But, yeah, it's that's the thing.
It's hard,
the first
isn't it?
half, I was like, I was happy at half time, but I've got to say as well, Kraft is shit. He's got to go for me. What are your guys' thoughts on the Dubravka situation? So I think somebody said earlier that, actually I made the point earlier on Facebook saying, say if a keeper always cocks up, say 5% of the shots they face, they're obviously going to look better when they're busier because they're not going to be cocking up as often.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is definitely the case with Darlow. And we know Dubravka has an error in him, but it's a shame it came on his first game back. For me, I think you've got to stick with Dubravka now. And it's a shame because we don't have the time to get them sharp, you know?
Yeah, I think that was the point that Adam made earlier, is that it's too late now to start. You know, either way, if a keeper makes a mistake on their first game, you're not just going to ship them straight out, especially when we've got two keepers of the caliber that we've got. So absolutely, you've got to stick with Dubravka. But whatever happens from here, you know, fans aren't going to come out smelling of roses with it, because we're all praising Darlow and he was doing what he needed to do. He was doing his job. A lot of fans called for him to be switched. Dubravka's come in. And then Dubravka, like you say, unfortunately makes a mistake on his first game. But you have to stick with him, mate. We have to stick with him. Like I said, it's far too late to mess about.
I think Dubravka will come back stronger against West Brom. Like, we've seen it happen with Dubravka before, because especially it always seems to happen against Wolves.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that's true.
Like, we've seen it happen.
For me, it was the worst time to change your number one goalkeeper. We've got the most important games in this, and I do say in this club's history, because if we go down, we ain't coming back. Maybe it's not in history, but you know, in recent history, to change your number one goalkeeper is a big call, and he made the call. Dubravka's a great keeper, but it's consistency. You need consistency through the season as your number one keeper. Karl Darlow's been phenomenal. He's made the odd bars up. I'll let the other lads speak. Sorry, I'm terrible with names. But for me, he shouldn't have dropped Darlow for me. But that's, again, fans jump down your throat for different opinions.
Ed, what are your feelings on that, mate? Well, have we lost them?
Yeah, I think. Sorry. I think whoever's in goal, it's not going to make a difference whether we go up or down, who we put in. Like, Dubravka's got to save that, hasn't he? I mean, he's a quality keeper. You can't. I mean, he was there as well. He had it on it. Just needed, like, even you've got to save. Like, I mean, it's hard, isn't it? The goalkeeper, you make one mistake and everyone, you're like the villain, aren't you? But you got to save that. It's just unfortunate. It's his first game back as well. Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, drop Darlow," but he's got to save that, hasn't he? Really. It'd be good. I think you got to stick with him. He's made that decision. He's got to stick with him for the last 12 games. I think.
100% agree, mate. I'll come to you both just before we.
Can I just say thanks for having me on?
No, you're more than welcome, mate. I'll come to yourself first, Joe. What do you think the result will be against West Brom?
I'm expecting a very, very boring game, very scrappy. I'm going to say 1-0 Newcastle.
Okay. Who's going to get the goal, mate, do you reckon?
You know what? If we're going the shithouse route, Andy Carroll. Fuck it.
Yeah, fair enough. And yourself, Ed, what about you, mate? What do you think the result will be?
You there, Ed?
I think we'll win. I think we will. Like, we've shown enough signs, but I don't know. I thought we definitely think with the injuries. I'm going to be positive. Yeah, I'd say we'll win 1-0. Andy Carroll.
Perfect. Like it. Thank you very much to both of you for coming on.
Cheers, lads.
Really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you at the West Brom game, lads. Take care.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All this positivity about next week. Unbelievable.
Let's bring in who we got? We got Jay and James.
Evening, Jay. How are you doing?
Fellas, doing all right?
James, you all right?
Hello, boys. You all right?
Yeah, good, mate.
Jay, good point or 2 points dropped?
2 points dropped and kind of a good point, right? If that makes any damn sense, right? We need the point. Should have gotten 3. Didn't think we were going to get 3. Would have taken it. I think I said before the match, I'd snap your arm off for a point, right? So I'm glad we got that, but we Newcastled it up and we didn't get 3 points, right? That's what happened. What do you think, Jack?
I like that. I like that one.
Yeah, no, I agree. Before the game with Wolves' form going into it, I thought, you know, I'd bite your hand off for a point. But as soon as that game kicked off and we got into the first 25 minutes and we'd had like 4 shots on target, I was like, we're not clinical enough and we need to take one of these because Wolves will pick up at some point. They're not just going to roll over like we do like throughout the season. They will
Nuno won't tolerate it, and we needed to take our chances early on, I think.
Absolutely.
No, completely right. We've if you've been listening, we'll go quickly onto the debate about the goalkeeper. I think we'll all agree he could have done better, but was it the right call to drop Darlow, Jay?
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna be the crazy Yank saying some stuff maybe you don't like, but I don't care, and it's not statistically relevant, right? I mean, I would have kept Darlow in myself, but our problem is not our keeper. We have more punches than anyone in the league. We have the third most shots blocked, and we do that because we give up a crap load of attempts on goal because we're bad, whether we play 5 at the back or not. And we don't score goals. That's why our goal difference really sucks, because we don't score goals, right? And I think Darlow and Dubravka are both fine keepers. I think they're both fine keepers. I wouldn't have changed them out, but this doesn't really matter. And you can all disagree and hate me and say that's wrong, but I'm a data guy. And I'm looking at the data, and I wouldn't have changed him. And it has nothing to do with the fact that I like Dubravka's his distribution better. A lot of things I like better, but it's just not relevant to us staying up or down. And so I think the change itself destabilizes the team, but it doesn't really matter. It's almost like the Harper Given thing from years ago. That's my take.
Yeah. What about yourself, James? You feel the same way, or?
Yeah. I don't. Well, I wasn't really concerned. I thought I quite liked Dubravka, so I wasn't too concerned him coming back in. But I think the only reason Steve could have made that decision was just based on the leadership quality rather than anything else. Because I don't, even with some of Darlow's mistakes in recent matches, being beaten at the near post, I don't think it was as glaringly obvious enough to swap out the goalkeeper. So I think he's trying to get some more leaders in the dressing room, and I think we saw some of that late on in the game with Dubravka. Like it was rallying cries and when corners are coming in and things like that. So for me, I wasn't too concerned about what we saw from him tonight. I think a bit critical. I don't think it was I wouldn't necessarily call it a mistake. I'm more concerned about Hayden just watching the ball come into the box than if we're going to put any blame on Dubravka for the goal. Then I don't even think Hayden knew that he was supposed to be playing right back at that point in time. So that's more of an issue. I think he probably thought Murphy was going to play right back. So,
and Jay, as James says there, sorry, go on, Jay.
I just want to say that I really agree with what you just said there, James. Like, I really agree with that. Our problem is our defense and our system, and it always has been. Right?
Yeah, and we saw. I think Lascelles did a lot better. I'm quite critical of Lascelles because I think he's our worst defender at the club, or one of our worst centre backs. I would place Shah, Clark, and Fernandez ahead of Lascelles most week in and week out. But I think tonight that's a positive. I think he played well tonight, or well enough for me. I mean, getting a point against Wolves, you're never going to play super well. But I think seeing some leadership from him and Dubravka is some of the positives that we can take from tonight going into the next few games. And very quickly about Shelvey, must have seen your rant on him, Karl, because I think he played really well tonight. He got really stuck in, and there was some bite going into tackles, and we haven't seen that from John Joe Shelvey in a long time. So they're the positives I think we can take from.
With that, that's exactly it. And like I've said, I'm a massive advocate of John Joe. So people that watch it will probably take it out of context. But that is the first time that I've probably got really frustrated with him because I'm such a massive fan of his. So seeing what he hasn't done was really frustrating. But I agree. Like tonight, it was what I expect from him. It's what I expect from him. I think Adam was going to come over to yourself, Jay, with regards to what James said. I think I might be right in asking this. Did you see the Jamaal Lascelles interview after?
No, I didn't. We don't get that as easy. The American stream's cut off, and so we don't get the same stuff that you guys do. I find them later, and I go back and I look at them, but we don't get them broadcast quite the same way. So I'll get around to it. But it sounded like he was a right ass, is what it sounded like from you guys talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, Adam, do you want to explain a bit? Because you watch more of it than me, mate.
It pretty much said what James summed up, that the players didn't know where they were meant to be. The reporter put it on Lascelles' toes. Was there any communication? And he went, no, I'm going to go and discuss it now. It seemed pretty critical of the manager, the coaching staff. The season is absolutely stinking of relegation. It's starting to get really worrying. I thought we were okay tonight. Probably should have won, but as you mentioned, Jay, we didn't. And I mean, I don't know how. Let's assume ASM and Miggy are missing next week, Jay. What do we do going into West Brom?
We full on panic. I don't know, what we do. It's like I don't know exactly how you guys keep score in school over there, right? It's a little different, but like I used to kind of suck at school at different times and learn how to do that till later. But like when you tank a bunch of grades for a while, you can't assume it's all going to be okay because you're going to max out everything at the end.
Yeah.
Like that's not how this works. It doesn't work that way in football. And Bruce's decisions have given us really bad marks for a lot of games, and so we can't absorb. People get hurt in this game. That is the deal. That's why you have more players, and in theory, you have a maximum squad size, right? That to absorb those problems, and we don't have that room anymore, right? And it really hurts us that 3 of our best creative offensive players that can get the ball near the net and put the ball in the net aren't available to us. So it is not. I said this, it is not survivable. Like it is like, what are you kidding? Like if we don't have Wilson, ASM, and Miggy to push the ball forward. The fact that we have some other players like Frazier and Willock that can help out in that area is irrelevant. We would need to survive that. We would need to consistently have good performances from players like Shelby and like Joe Linton, who in fact do not produce consistent good performances for us. So you'd be playing the schoolboy angle there, trying to pull that out. And if they're not back, we are screwed. That's my take. So I'm going to pre-panic. Put me in for pre-panic. I hope the injuries are light. Miggy had a pretty serious hamstring over here a few years ago, and he came back. He didn't lose a step, but he was out for months over here. But we didn't play him. We left him out. So he's had that knock before, and it looked like ASM was really favoring his groin. So God, I don't even want to talk about that nightmare. Somebody say something positive because that's bad. That's real bad.
James, if you could choose one to be fit for the next game, Miggy or ASM, who would it be?
Miggy for me all day long. Yeah, I just think that he's more clinical, and I think from last season and from what I've seen from him this season, I think that he can affect the game the most, and over recent weeks has affected the game the most. I love Saint-Max as well. I think he's great, but if you could only choose one, my one would be Miggy.
I agree massively, man. Because I think it goes unnoticed. Obviously, we love him, but and obviously we love Maximin as well. But when Miggy's head was down, like the whole team was down, and then as soon as he's smiling again, we're a completely different team.
I think we saw as well with Fraser coming on that no one, if we're going to play that system that we seem to have gone with now since Graham Jones has come in, that Miggy really is the only player that can play that role up top.
Yeah,
because no one else presses like Miggy, and he has to cover. And I know we joke about he runs around a lot, yada yada yada. But honestly, like the ground he covers up top, just to get the pressure on, reminds me of like the work that Perez used to do that he didn't get credit for. And whenever the ball gets turned, you'll see like when Miggy presses, the ball will get turned over by a Wolves player. No one notices how far we get up the pitch when the ball's turned over, like in their half, because Miggy's running his arse off up top and no one else will do it. And you see like tonight when he's come off, as Ryan Fraser played that position, Joe Linton stepped in there for a little bit, and none of them had the same effect that Miggy did of like providing a genuine threat to the goalkeeper and the centre backs and going forward. So yeah, I think he's going to be a massive miss just from an energy perspective for us going forwards.
Anything else, lads?
Yeah, I would just say that, if we had some leadership in the clubhouse, you would just look around and say, lads, boys, men, whatever it is, the past doesn't matter. We have to go forward, right? We can't stay here. We must go forward. And we played pretty damn well today, all things considered. Yeah, we should have finished, things like that. But today was better. And the truth is, there's a giant spreadsheet calculating our odds of staying up over here that amuses me. I'm just telling you, there are teams you can go get points from. And if we just have one of those good players and we play like tonight, the truth is we are not doomed yet. I'm not saying it's good, but we're not truly screwed yet. And if we go forward, perhaps we can carry the day.
Perfect. Thank you very much, lads. Really appreciate it. And we'll hopefully have a positive day against West Brom.
Yeah, thanks, gents.
Yeah.
Take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your day, Jay. Take care. Right, Johnny and Andrew. Good evening.
Evening, lads.
Evening, boys.
How you doing? Yeah. Johnny,
can hear
how
you
did
this
you
thing.
take that one?
Sorry?
Johnny, how did you enjoy that one?
Well, actually, just before I start, I've got dollar meat and chips coming in the next 10 minutes. If I have to get up and walk away, you haven't upset me. It's just I've got to go to the door. I'm actually pretty positive about tonight. I know we look at it, maybe 2 points dropped, but we did play quite well. And it looks like the team are playing for Bruce. I might be wrong. You might disagree with me, but I think, yes, we could have done better. But 2 weeks ago, would you have taken it if someone said a point against Wolves? Would you have taken it?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think we all said we would have took a point before the game. I think it's more frustrating how the game went. A pretty piss-poor goal for us to concede. Who stood out for you tonight, Johnny, for us in Newcastle?
Lascelles, I think. He's yeah, I think. Well, his goal was great as well, but the goal wasn't his fault. I would put that one. If I had to be harsh, I'd say it was on Hayden. But then you get into the conversation of, is Bruce instructing the players correctly? But we kept out Wolves for the most part. They didn't have that many chances, except for the goal and Dubravka's save of the season, by the way. It is the best save I've seen in a long, long time. Whether he knew much about it is, well, only he knows. But I think the defence did really well, and I think Lascelles gave a good account of himself, so I think he's my man of the match.
Andy, Dubravka will probably get remembered for letting the goal in rather than what was just said there about the good save. Should Dubravka have done better?
Arguably, I think the most frustrated person with that chance would be Dubravka. I think you're probably right. Normally, we would expect him to save that, but that's what happens when you're thrown in with no match practice. I think Bruce has threw him in, and he's going to have to accept the smaller errors that are going to happen from a player that's not played for, what is it, 8 months? He's played one game in 8 months. So
yeah, he hasn't had much game time.
He hasn't had much game time. So, and I don't think, as Johnny, I think it said there, sorry if I got your name wrong, mate. Hayden didn't help him. Didn't help him. It's similar to the Rashford goal, isn't it? The bigger the error in the first phase, the harder it is for the goalkeeper. And again, it's been proved a little bit too difficult for the goalkeeper. And you've got to say, Darlow must be sitting there going, yeah.
Johnny, Ryan Fraser came on as a sub, second half for Miggy. Better?
Well, he created the opportunity, he gave the assist, so we've got to say yes. Because I know the thing is with this team, as much as we love Miggy, ASM, they huff and they puff, but they don't blow the house down. We have so many opportunities that don't come to anything. Ryan Fraser, one cross, one goal. Whether you look at, do you pick, especially in a relegation battle, because we know Ryan Fraser, he's not the man you want in a relegation battle. Last season proved that for Bournemouth. I'd have to say, yes, Ryan played well, but I would prefer Miggy to be back in his place.
Start him next week if Miggy's injured?
Yes, only because who else do you start?
Exactly. Exactly.
I think Ryan Fraser is a great player, but does he have the heart for a relegation fight?
Do you think half of them realise we're in a relegation fight?
They've got bloody stupid if they don't.
But what I mean is, when you're watching them, do you look at them going, oh, these are fighting, these really want to get out of this? Because I watch Fulham obviously to check. And I look at film like, oh, fuck me, these want to get out of this. I don't get that with Newcastle. I think we're just breezing by the season. Everything will be all right. Steve Bruce will pat them on the back. Do you feel Newcastle players, and I'll ask you both this, you can answer, do you feel they really have the bollocks to get out of this?
Johnny, do you want to go first?
Oh, no, you can go first, mate.
Adam, it's a good question because it's times you think that they do and then times that they don't. One question I will ask is, if you're going to get out of trouble, you've got to have players that's got a proven track record. And like the lads who said there before, Fraser's one touch, a goal. If you look over the past of who's got the most assists in the Premier League in our squad over the course of their games, Fraser got, 17 in one season or 14 in a season. He came in at the start of the season, set up a goal. He is going to create chances. If you get the ball forward, he will create chances. It's the strikers that have to gamble. If Joe Linton wants to prove himself as a goal scorer, he's got someone there that can put balls into the box for him. This is his opportunity to say, I am worth, all right, I'm not worth 40 million, but I am worth sticking in this squad, and I will show you that I'm committed. So if he wants to show he's committed, then stick him up top and we'll see, because Carroll, I'm a big fan of Carroll, but is playing him against Brighton with Lewis Dunk, an even challenger, same height as him. Carroll's probably not the physical specimen that we're seeing 10 years ago in a Newcastle shirt. I would rather play Joe Linton there, and we'll see what happens. But to answer your question, sorry, mate, I don't think that a lot of the squad realise that we're in a relegation battle. Going back to the point that you made about that interview.
No, it's fine.
I think we've got a disconnect between the squad. There are some players, Lascelles, Ritchie, and others, who will run through brick walls for the squad.
Yeah.
But then you've got other players who don't share the same attitude. And I think what needs to happen is they all need to get someone, whether it's Bruce, Jones, or whoever, needs to get them on the same wavelength.
So a quick yes or no before we go. Is there many in the background, Carl?
We've got a couple more to bring in, mate. That's it.
Quick yes or no before we go. Does Steve Bruce have this dressing room going into the last 12 games?
No.
No.
There you go. Cheers, lads. Hope to see
Fair
you next
enough.
week.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Later, lads. Take care. We'll bring in Karl and Diane for the last 5 minutes. Lads, we've got 5 minutes. How are we?
Not bad.
Good, lads.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Karl, you good?
Yeah, not bad, mate.
Good man, good man. Karl, I haven't seen you on the channel before, so I do apologise if you've been on previously.
It's okay.
I'll come to you first, mate. What do you make of the game tonight?
I thought we did pretty well in the fact of the shot on target. We dominated Wolves, I thought, in front of goal tonight. It's just that decision by Mike Dean for that penalty. It should have been, in my eyes. It was really poor decision. And, people are saying that we didn't dominate Wolves because they've got 53% possession, but you kind of put it down to possession all the time. We've seen it in the past, when Brendan Rodgers was with Swansea, we dominated against them, and they had a whole bunch of possession as well in that game, and we still came out on top. So you can't always put it down to possession, but I thought we dominated in the game in front of goal at least tonight.
What was the penalty incident in the game? Sorry, what was the penalty incident again? Like, me and Carl do the watch along, so I struggling to remember that one. Which one was that?
The penalty incident was Roman Sionis. What happened is the Newcastle player hit the ball towards goal. Rui Patricio saved it, slightly saved it. It went past him, and it was going to go into the goal. And Roman Sionis came running in, put his hand up. Yeah.
Was that the Joe Linton one?
Half with Murphy, yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think that was the Joe Linton one.
So when we watched it, I didn't see the replay. So is it blatant that it come off his arm then, was it?
Yeah, it's so blatant on the replay, you can see, and it should have been a penalty. It wasn't
his arms was his arms not too close to his body? Like, I think I'm glad you reminded us there, because to be fair, I remember seeing it, but I didn't think at the time it was a penalty. Was his arms not too close to his body for that to be a penalty?
No, his arm was like right up, unnatural position in my eyes. Should have been a penalty.
Me and Carl haven't seen the game back, to be fair, probably, so
that's okay.
That's fair enough.
I'm so sick of VAR, to be honest. I don't know why they can't get it to work. I mean, I didn't realize that it was a handball. I saw that the players were appealing for it, but I mean, the thing is, we didn't even see a playback, did we?
No.
It's like they're almost doing it intentionally so that fans don't complain about it.
That's why I don't remember seeing it.
There was just like a quick playback of it, but they didn't show you like
the
slow motion. Actually, yeah,
no,
it was.
You seen Harry Maguire pretty much fucking rock bottom Lascelles last week, and that never got picked up on VAR.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's a strange system, put it that way. But
yeah. Diane, what do you make of tonight's game, mate? Any positives to take from it from you?
Positives, yes. I think, like a lot of people, I am a bit disappointed that we've only got a point out of it because I think on the balance of the way that we played, I think we performed well. Considering the chances overall that Wolves had and that we had, a point is probably a fair result overall. But one thing that I wanted to say coming onto the stream was that personally, like a lot of Newcastle fans have sort of been like sounding the death knell over the last few weeks and saying, you know, I agree to a certain extent that this game and the following 3 games are kind of season defining for us in terms of whether we're going to go down or not. But for me, you know, I think people are getting a little bit ahead of themselves because we've still got another 12 games. So I think it's still a bit early, really, to say definitively whether we're going to go down or not. And for me, over the last sort of 6 games, I've personally, I think, seen enough character and enough sort of effort, enough of a lift in terms of the way that some of these players are playing. I mean, Almiron having ASM back, obviously. Shelby today, I thought, played a lot better. You know, seeing what he's capable of, you know, putting in a graft. So I think over the last 6 games, with the exception of the Chelsea game, I think I've seen enough character from the players to give me a bit of hope that we're actually going to stay up. The thing is, the reason I think why we'll go down, if we do go down, is because I have no sort of faith or trust in Steve Bruce's decision-making in terms of, you know, the starting lineup. He insists on starting with Joe Linton and with Kraft every week, even though every week we say the same thing, that, you know, Joe Linton's a passenger, he doesn't offer anything, and Kraft is defensively weak. You know, he got beat, I think, in the first half, again, just being flat-footed like he did against Rashford, against Man United. So, and also the substitution decisions that he makes. So overall,
Subs are awful.
yeah,
Subs are awful.
yeah. Overall, I'm happy with the performance. I'm a bit disappointed that we didn't manage to get 3 points, but I think if we're able to continue for the rest of the season to play the way that we have overall for the last 6 games, and keep in mind we've got 7 points from the last 6 games, so if we're able to replicate that, that would be 14 points over the next 12 games, which would put us up to 40 points. So I think if we're able to continue to play the way that we are, we've got a good chance of staying up. That's
carry on.
I think we need to win 4 more games to stay up, which is 3, 6, 9, 12 points. Can you see us getting 12 points considering we're only getting minimal points in the last 13 games? To both of you. Sorry.
I think the next 3 games we could win in them. The game against West Brom, I'd definitely say that's a win. And then the game against Aston Villa, I would say what we can get in that. And then the game after that, see again what we can get. Possibly a win. But the game against Tottenham, I think that's going to be a tricky one. I think that'll be a tricky game, that one. But you never know. We have surprised against Tottenham before, and maybe we'll be able to do it again.
Definitely.
Let's see. Let's see when. Sorry, go on, Carl. No, go on.
We've got scoring the players literally going live, mate, so I'm going to have to cut it off. So,
Cheers,
yeah,
lads.
apologies for cutting you off short, lads. But we've got scoring the players going live now. Yeah, thank you very much for coming on. Hopefully, we'll get a result at West Brom. And if you can get in early, we'll get you on straight away in the next one.
No problem.
All right,
Cheers,
guys.
lads.
Appreciate your time. Take
No
care.
problem. Thanks, Al. Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, thank you very much for everyone dropping in. Again, apologies to cutting off Adam there.
No, I'm on scoring the players.
Yeah, so I'll
I need
let
to
him
go.
go. Everyone, like, share, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Scoring the players. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Cheers, lads.